Okay, so let's take a look at how you can plot the histogram in Python using Matplotlib. So first thing, we will open terminal and make sure that you have Jupyter Lab installed. You can simply do that using pip install then Jupyter-lab. Right. Next thing, make sure to also install Matplotlib. Right, once these two things are installed, you are good to go with creating histogram charts. Right, now you can use Jupyter notebook to open the classic notebook interface, or use Jupyter-lab. Right, if you press this, it should open new browser instance. Right, now here you will notice that you have access to notebook and console, and I will be clicking on this notebook. Should open one untitled Python notebook. Now what we can do here is we will be importing few things. So import c numpy as np, then import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. These two things imported. Next thing we can do is we can call for np dot random dot sit then 4 offset. Now the next thing would be we will have to create data for our x. Right, now this will be used for our histogram. So np dot random dot normal. Right, so here I will be adding 0 1 to 100. Right, so this normal function would pick up from these three parameters. Now we will have to use figure for our plot, then axis x and y, then we will use plt dot subplots. Right, then next we will use ax dot hist function. So this is the function that will take our data from x. Right, and then plt dot show. Right, so this is the code for basic histogram in Matplotlib. So if I select this, run, it should create one histogram. Right, and it should look something like this. Next thing, we can also shift its orientation. Can simply give comma, then orientation equals to, within double quotes, horizontal. Right, and it will tilt to, and the direction of x and y would shift as well. So let's select all and then run. Notice the tilt orientation is now horizontal. Right, now if you are coming from the background of data science, then you will find that you often use histogram along with density plots, right, or combination of two R density histograms. Right, you can change that here. So simply add density equals to true. Right, it should be in your hist function. So if you select this and hit enter, right, you will notice that you are back to your histogram. However, if you make some changes to your data and decide to plot that density values, it should show up in here. So all you have to do is just make this change. So relevant data you can pick it up on and change your output. Right, now I don't have anything for density and cumulative data, like, but what we can do is we can use cumulative for this and set to true. Won't be much of change, but you will notice a bit more with cumulative compared to your density in histogram. Right, so here you will be seeing the change if you set cumulative to true. Right now, if I also use the bins set to something like 40 or 60, what you can do, you can select this paragraph, run this, and your bins will be visible. The value you set was 40, so it will reflect in your histogram. Right now, what we can do, we can also add multiple data like x1 x2, and then based on those data we can also plot our histogram. In that case, that would be histogram by group, right? So here we already have x1, let's add x2, right? I will try and just repeat the above, right? So we have like x and x1, x1 and x2, so x should be combination of these two, x1 and x2, right? So here you will notice that value of x. Right now what we can do is we will just remove the beans part and try to look at this histogram by group, right? So x is mix of these two, we are plotting x, right? So if I run this and see the difference x1 and x2, we didn't add any legend part, so we can use x dot legend, and that function should also shows the x1 and x2, but we'll have to set the labels, get the percentage, and make the legend more clearer, so we'll get back to that. For now you can see x1 and x2, each of them separated by groups within this histogram. So this type of stuff come in handy for population versus various sort of data like say infection, vaccination, education. You can make use of such within your histogram, right? So that one part is covered. Now we can also change few histogram types, right? So let's say keeping the data same, I can add hist type, right? Sorry, not style, hist type equals to, within double quotes I can add bar stacked, right? Select all, run, and you have histogram of type bar stacked, right? Then you select this, add step, and if you select entire paragraph and run, you will have your step histogram, right? And if you change this to, let's say, step field, then you will be able to fill this with the color, right? So it will be chosen by system, and notice that your step histogram is now step filled, right? So filled with the specific color, right? You can also set the color instead of using the types. You can have say color of say light steel blue, right? And if you run this, it should show me some different output, but not sure why it has given me that problem. So let's say if I use dark sea green, right? So let me run and see if those colors work. So it seems like the color is not available. I will have to check on that, right? So let's see if we can use color palettes. So color palette, and if we go with custom color, so something like this, right? So we select this, and here let's see if we can add the hash color, or I will have to use other means like say color set to, right? And here I can paste that. So if we use color equals to colors, right? So let's hope that works. If not, we may have to find the particular list where we can write the specific colors, right? So it seems like not working for color parameter, right? So let's see what works here. So here we use color equals to, let's say, blue, right? So select everything, and there seems to be that error, right? So it seems like the parameter has been changed, and it requires the color keyword argument must have one color per data set, but in X data set and in color were provided. So already colors are provided, so we are trying to override them and it's not working out, right? So if we choose X1 and select all of this, we got the blue, right? So considering there are two data sets and we are trying to override the system given, it caused the issue. So if I try to use, let's say, light steel blue now, right? So light steel blue, and if I run this, it will work out for one of the data set, which is our X1. But if you are keeping the X, which is combination of two as in group, then it will not allow us to override that, because system is providing two default color in that case and it doesn't allow overrides, right? Next thing, we can add border color with edge color, right? So edge color we are going to set with white. Let's see if we run this, it will give you the edge between your values, making it more like a bar plot out of histogram. But considering the data that we have given, and if we shift this to, let's say, X value, it should show you that edge between the values as well, right? So now that we have seen the color option, we need to think of two colors here. So let's say instead of X1 we will have X, right? So let's try and go back to our example and think of color, right? We need two colors, right? So we have double quotes, then comma, double quotes. The first color I can get is light salmon. Second color I can get light steel blue. But now let's try and differentiate. So medium aquamarine, right? So let's go with these two color, and if you run this, and there we go. So when data set have two set of values, we will have to provide two set of values to the color parameter, right? So the last time those issues came into play and caused the errors. So you get the idea how to draw the histogram with Matplotlib in Python.